Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Shloime Zionce and I am a Hasidic Jewish world traveler, YouTuber, podcaster, public speaker, etc. If you've already visited my channel before, thanks for coming back. We're glad to have you here. Today, we're going to be talking about traveling as an Orthodox Jew. As some of you may know, traveling as an Orthodox Jew is very different than traveling as just any other person. And I'm going to explain why. So I want to talk a little bit about what it takes to plan a trip as an Orthodox Jew and how to go about doing that. As a religious Jewish person, I have certain requirements that other people might not have. For example, I need to eat kosher food. The only kind of food I can consume is food that is kosher. That means it's either naturally kosher or it's prepared properly in a way that is suitable for a kosher consumer. Additionally, Jewish men are supposed to pray with a quorum, with a minyan. That means 10 Jewish men are supposed to pray together. That's the ideal situation for praying as a Jew. Therefore, when a religious Jew plans a trip, they're generally looking for A, place that they can get kosher food, and B, a place where they can pray in a synagogue with a minyan. That's very important. Now, I personally often travel to places where there is no synagogue and where there is no kosher food available because that's what my job requires of me. But when I do those things, I take kosher food with me and I pray on my own in my hotel room or elsewhere. But for most kosher travelers, or at least for many of them, they're always looking for kosher food and a synagogue to pray at. Additionally, there's something called mikveh, which essentially means a Jewish ritual bath. The mikveh is something that is required to live a proper Jewish life, so it's something that's also really good to have either in the community that you're living in or the place that you're going to be vacationing in. So, how does one plan a trip in a way that they can ensure that they get kosher food and a synagogue to pray at and possibly a mikveh? So there are a couple ways you can do this. The simplest way is if you ask someone you know. So let's say you want to go to Paris and you know somebody who's French or you know somebody who's been to Paris and you say, okay, I want to go to Paris. Do you know where I can find a kosher restaurant, where I can find a synagogue, where there's a mikveh? That's something that people do. But what if you don't know somebody who's French or somebody who's been to Paris and you want to take a vacation to that place? So you have to start Googling things. Where can I find a synagogue? Where can I find a mikveh? Where can I find a kosher restaurant? And then basically what you do is you decide where you want to stay, or you decide which synagogue or restaurant you want to be close to, and then you open Google Maps and you calculate the distance between the place you want to stay and the place you want to eat, etc. Another thing to keep in mind is that we have something called Shabbos. It's God's day of rest, and we Jews rest every week from sundown on Friday to sundown on Saturday. So basically we have 24 to 25 hours of time where we're not using our phones, we're not on the computer, we don't drive, we don't cook. So if you're taking a weekend getaway and it's going to be Shabbos, you're not going to be driving to synagogue, you're not going to be driving to a restaurant, you want to know what places are in walking distance. Once again, that's where Google Maps comes in. You make all the calculations. The problem is that it can get kind of tricky because you have synagogues on one side of town, restaurants on another side of town. There's all these different things that you want to do and you have to try to map everything out to make sure that nothing's too far from the other. This is something that religious Jews have to think about whenever they're planning a trip. So if you're not Jewish, you can just literally decide on your destination, travel to that place, eat wherever you want, do whatever you want. As a religious Jewish person, if we want to have access to all the services and food that we need, we have to try to figure out exactly where everything is, and that can be very, very time consuming. Now, something to keep in mind is that I'm constantly getting emails and messages on a daily basis from people all over who know that I travel a lot, and they kind of want to rely on me for advice. Now, I try to help as many people as possible, and I try to respond to as many messages as I can, but lately it's just become so time consuming because so many of these messages are coming in every day. It's just become unsustainable and impossible to respond to them all. In addition to my work as a video content creator and a writer at Ami Magazine, I often do arrange trips for people, specifically in the Middle East. A lot of people call me about Dubai, and I sometimes arrange a trip for them from A to Z, flights, hotels, cars, excursions, food, everything. They literally do not have to worry about a thing. I take care of it all. But it's not cheap, it's a service I offer. But that's not what I do most of the time. Most of the time I'm trying to create content, digital and written content, and answering all of these inquiries about travel to random places has just become too much to bear. So I have a solution that can help me and it can help you. Listen closely. Recently, a couple people reached out to me. They told me they're starting a company called Vakazi. Vakazi is a full service booking platform where you can do amazing things, specifically if you're an Orthodox Jewish traveler. So basically the way it works is you go to vakazi.com, you type in the place you want to go, you type in your dates, you search, and then the magic happens. With one click, it shows you options for hotels, all the synagogues in walking distance to those hotels, all the kosher restaurants in walking distance to those hotels, and it shows you the mikvahs in walking distance to those hotels. So basically, if you're an Orthodox Jewish traveler and you're trying to plan a vacation. Maybe you don't know if a Jewish community exists in the city or state you want to go to. Maybe you don't know if there's kosher food available, if there's a synagogue available. All you got to do is go to vakazi.com, you type in where you want to go, and it gives you everything. You can book hotels now. They're going to be adding flights and car rentals and even kosher food delivery services in the future. So I highly recommend checking this out. I often get companies reaching out to me and they want to partner with me in some way to promote their products or services. Usually I have to say no, and I turn down over 90% of the inquiries I get just because I either don't believe in their product, or I don't think their service is strong enough, or it just doesn't align with my kind of content. So Vakazi is a perfect solution. It's going to help you plan your vacation in the best way possible, and it's going to help me by saving me time so I don't have to answer all these emails, because now you can just do it all yourself with one click. The technology behind Vakazi.com is simply amazing. It's built on one of the world's largest travel booking platforms, so there are not going to be any glitches. Everything is going to go smoothly. There's amazing customer service. Before I go, I want to mention one more thing. There's something that often happens to Orthodox Jewish travelers. It's not supposed to happen, but life isn't perfect. So sometimes you're traveling on a Friday and your flight gets delayed or canceled, or perhaps you're driving somewhere and you get stuck in a snowstorm, you get a flat tire, or your car breaks down or whatever. And as an Orthodox Jew, you know that when the sun goes down on Friday, you need to stop and rest for 24 hours. So what do you do if you're on the road and you don't know where to go, where to turn? You have to start looking for other Jewish people who perhaps live in this neighborhood, city, state, country where you are, and try to figure out if there's a place that you could stay where you can get kosher food. Now there's a solution, vakazi.com. You just visit the website, you type in where you are, and it will bring you the solutions that you need so that you can have a proper Shabbos wherever you are. I truly believe that vakazi.com is going to change and revolutionize the way Orthodox Jews travel. It's going to make it more convenient than it ever has been before. So go to vakazi.com the next time you want to plan a trip or vacation. I guarantee that you will be blown away by how easy and simple it has become to plan a kosher vacation. Safe travels! See you next time.